Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this HP model 27-R014. I'm probably going to have to look up the specific name that they gave it, because I think that's like, or not the specific name, but the name that they give to consumers. Anyways, let's go ahead and pop this thing open. So I'm not sure if we need to remove this foot here. Let's see what kind of screw it uses. It uses a special one. Alright, and let's see. Most likely going to use like a Torx, some special Torx bit. 15 is too big. What about an 8? Nope. I think HP tends to like to use like a 9 or 10. So let's see. 10 fits here, and that seems to unscrew it well. So we're going to use a T10 or Torx 10 to remove those screws on the bottom. I don't know if we actually need to remove this. Let's see if the stand comes off easily. Alright, if this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. Subscribe, and if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue getting all this apart. So we got those 4 screws. You want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. And as you can see, the stand comes off relatively easily. But yeah, you do need a T10 or Torx 10. I'm not sure 100%. It might also use like the regular like hex. I think a normal hex might work as well. Let me see what size if I use that. That's too big. It's probably this 2.5. Yeah. So if you don't have a Torx, you can use one of these 2.5 hex bits. All right. So one of those. All right. Or whatever you call them. I don't know. Allen wrench. All right. Anyways, so that works as well. And that's actually what the thing is designed to use, a 2.5 millimeter, I guess. All right, anyways, let's go ahead now and see if we can get the bottom cover off. So there's 2 little rubber covers there. We're just going to use like, you can use like a small flathead screwdriver or sim-eject tool. I'm going to use a sim-eject tool here, and we're just going to get it in that, and we're going to just pop this up, okay? And be careful not to lose that. We'll set that aside. We'll do the same thing on the one over here, okay? This computer's pretty big, so it's a little bit difficult to kind of manage to move it around and show. But yeah, and also these things have like a little groove there, and then it has this little tab to help line it up right. So make sure when you put it back that you get it in right. All right, so it has this kind of screw, which I think we're going to be using a PH2. I don't think they have a J2 or JS2 screwdriver size, so we're going to be using a PH2. All right. You want to get a screwdriver that will fit well here. Okay, and we're gonna twist this, and most likely, like all these other HP ones we've been having, these all-in-ones, when you twist this, it actually just pops the case. So here you can see when we twist it, this part actually pops forward a little bit. I don't know if it's gonna focus down there. Come on, focus there. So when we twist this, oh man, it's really hard. Okay, so we twist it counterclockwise, and you can see it kind of pops a little gap there. So we're going to do that on both sides, and we kind of need to get in there and then kind of just pull it up. All right, and if you don't have a good sized like PH screw, it looks like you can use a good flathead screwdriver as well. So you can just get that in there and twist that. Excuse me. All right, and actually it looks like it might fit an even larger Phillips screwdriver, but anyways, so as we twist this, I don't know if you can see, it pops a gap open. Sorry, I know the view is not good, but yeah, also this is, let me move these screws out of the way. It's very hard to do this with a camera in front of me, so because I don't have a good angle to work on this. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and go from this side, because usually I like to get my fingernails in there and pop it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my fingernails in here and see if I can actually just pull it. So I'm pushing with my thumbs here, and pulling here, okay? And you can actually see the plastic is separating, okay? And I don't think you actually even need to undo those screws. I think it's for if you just have like pry tools, because I don't think the screws are actually holding anything, and I think twisting it probably just pops the clips to make it easier. All right, also keep in mind the CD drive is here, so most likely when we take it out, it's going to come up with this case because it has nowhere to go to come out. Okay, so we're gonna pull on this, and you can see I can just go up the whole entire edge and pop these clips. That's why fingernails are nice to have. And let's see, but how are we gonna get it to pop out? Can we go on this side as well? It's difficult to get good angles in the camera here, okay? But pretty much we're just pulling on this, and then we're going around all the edges, okay? And same thing, we're just getting on in here and pushing with my thumbs on the back while pulling with my fingernails. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can pop this forward somehow. Man, we don't have good working angles with this camera in my way. But let's see here. Okay, so hopefully it's hard to do this. You can see we can make a gap there. So I'm gonna try and get my fingernails in there and try and pull this out of here if possible. Let's see. I mean, all these clips came up, but they keep clipping themselves back down. So we might have to get something to stick in the gap while we're kind of prying on it. But okay, let's try the screwdriver one more time, see if that does anything. So we're gonna twist, and you can see it just pops it up a little bit. But yeah, I have a feeling I'm gonna have to do this without the camera in my way. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I pushed with my thumb here, and I'm pulling with my fingernails. So we can get in there, okay. You can see it's popping open more, so I'm gonna push some more. Let's see, maybe we do have to twist the screwdriver as we do it, I don't know. Or is it just gonna pop out anyways? No? Let's see if twisting this while we're doing this does anything. Okay, yeah, so you do have to twist that while you're kind of pulling on it, and then it releases. All right, so be very careful. You can see there's all these connectors in here. You can see the little button there. You want to be careful not to damage those, okay? All right, so this is very difficult to show because it's so massive and it's in my way, but there we go. We're gonna kind of wiggle this, pull it up. Hopefully this is helping you guys understand what's going on. Okay, we're going to carefully wiggle this and be careful because, again, the CD drive is attached there. Let me see if I can undo the stand. And you can see it's held on here. So you can actually, there's plenty of slack. You can tip that over and just leave that there. You don't have to worry about this cable getting yanked out or anything. If you do want to, this is a SATA cable. You can actually grab this and just pull it out. All right, it helps to kind of wiggle it, but it's a standard CD drive, optical disc drive, SATA connector. All right, let's push that back in. It's hard to do this with one hand now, but let me push that back in. Okay, so there's a standard CD drive. If you want, you can replace this with another hard disk drive, caddy. So they do have a replacement where you can have a hard drive, 2.5-inch SATA hard drive or SSD in there. So if you really wanted to, you can do that. There's this one screw holding the drive in place. Once you undo that screw, you can actually pop this out. I believe this thing is attached to the front of the CD drive though, so you will have to remove that piece. All right, next thing, we're going to be replacing the hard drive with an SSD because it's running super slow. And we don't really need to take anything else out, but I will open up this just so you can see like the RAM and everything, because I'm pretty sure you're going to want to see that. So let me grab my screwdriver. We got the hard drive here. Let's go ahead and remove this first if we can. This is the 2.5-inch, or sorry, it's a 3.5-inch SATA hard drive, but the SSD is 2.5-inch. And yeah, they don't have a 3.5-inch SATA SSD. And we actually don't need to worry about it rattling around because SSDs don't have any issues with vibration. There's that one screw there, and is that the only screw holding that thing in place? I think so. I don't see, okay, it looks like, here you can see they wrote on here like lock and unlock or something. So let's see, can we slide it? Yep, so we just slide the whole caddy that way, and here's the hard drive, all right? There's 4 screws holding this in place. I am gonna need 2 hands, so let me put this back on the tripod here, okay? If I don't have good angles, I'm sorry. These things are too big and it's hard to work on these. But anyways, there's 4 screws holding this. We're gonna get rid of these 4 screws. We don't need them anymore because the SSD doesn't use these screws. I don't know if there's a place I can put these screws to store them, maybe on the back there. But let's see. All right, so we're gonna get these 4 screws out. I don't know if they designed it for that reason. And actually, okay, if you look here, this caddy has these 4 holes. These 4 holes, those are for the 2.5-inch SATA drive. So I'm pretty sure we can mount the SSD there. So once we get the 4 screws out, this thing just plops out easily. I did clone the drive in advance, so we have that on this SSD, and we can now put this SSD in place here. I'm pretty sure these screws aren't gonna go in because SSD screws are different, so I'm gonna have to get 4 screws for the SSD to mount that in place. But as you can see, it will mount nicely there. And no, these screws are not gonna stay in there. So if you get rid of these screws, keep in mind you won't really have anywhere to put them. You can put them into the hard drive itself, but yeah, they're gonna, like, if you try and leave it inside the computer, you're gonna lose them. You might have to use some tape or something to hold it in place. All right, anyways, let me get 4 screws here to mount this SSD, and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So I found a few screws. Let's go ahead and see if we can get these in. These do use a smaller JIS1 screwdriver, so I'm gonna switch over, and we're just gonna go ahead and try and get these screws into place. Right, line up the SSD, and we'll get that screw in. All right, so that screw fits, and we just need 4. So get that, line that up, get that. I'm just loosely fitting them first to get everything lined up. And last one. Okay. All right, so we'll get that in, and get this one in. This one in, and the last screw. All right, and there we go. We got the SSD in. Actually, let me get a thinner screw for this one because this one is a little bit thicker than the other ones. Okay, hopefully this one is the same. Okay, I think either way, this, I don't have all exact matching screws, but they all fit in there perfectly and they're close enough. All right, so we'll set this aside because we do want to open the other compartment here and take a look. But that's pretty much all you need to do if you want to replace the SSD or hard drive. We can actually put this in right now. So you just kind of line this up. You got to get these 2 wings here so that they go behind these. Because it's gonna slide in there. So let me zoom in a little bit there. Let's see if I can show this better. Okay. Oh, the computer's too big. It's in the way. All right. Anyways, you get this here. Just plop it in. All right. Make sure it goes in between these raised posts here. So I'm gonna get it on there. Line that up. Hold it down and slide it in place. Perfect. And then we're gonna just get the PH2 screwdriver back and put the screw back here in place. Sorry, I know you can't really see that, but yeah. All right, got that. We got the 2.5-inch, the SATA connector here. We just gotta get that back in. Just line that up and push that in. Very simple. All right, so hard drive upgrade on this. Very nice and easy. I cloned the hard drive to the SSD in advance. You don't want to wait to do it after unless you have a bootable cloning software, because then you have to plug in the old hard drive in externally. So yeah. All right, anyways, let's go ahead and see if we can remove this box to access the RAM. So I'm not sure if we might have to remove all this stuff. There's a lot of screws. So I guess let's zoom out and start removing screws here. All right, so it looks like we got, do we need to remove this whole stand from it? Let's go ahead and remove the whole stand. So there's 3, 4, 5, 6 screws. Okay, and I like to keep the screws in order so that I put the same screw back where I got it. I put them flat side down like that. In the pattern I remove them, so that way they don't roll around, and then I can know exactly where the screws came from. Okay, so let's go ahead and get all these screws out and do that. Okay, this one. Alright, so there we go. Now this piece comes off, and this is the hinge mounting bracket mechanism. I don't think we actually have to remove that to get the other piece off. I'm pretty sure you have access to all the other screws, so yeah. Anyways, there's one screw in this, one screw in this corner here. Be careful with that. You don't want to, luckily everything's enclosed in like metal housings, so, but once you get these pieces off, you don't want to drop anything on the motherboard or anything like that, right? There's another screw down there. Again, I am keeping these screws in order. We got another screw down here. Hopefully you can see that. Okay. What else? We have another screw all the way up here near the fan vent. Okay. What else? It's hard to see because I'm sitting all the way back here to try and let you guys see. With the camera in my way. Then we got this screw over here. Okay. Alright, and I think that's about all we need to remove here. Let's see. Okay, so let's see if we can pop this thing up. I'm just pulling on it. It's wiggling, and it feels like something is in the way. Okay, I'm going to try and get underneath this. Make sure you're not pulling on any of the connectors. And usually there's like some little foam or something that grabs around these connectors that make it stuck. So we're going to carefully just be pulling on this. Going to get underneath, oops, sorry, you can't see. I'm going to get underneath this side as well and help pull it up. Slowly wiggling it. It feels like there might be a screw or something still attached. I don't think this is... Well, let's see. Pull on this, wiggle on it. Let me see. I'm going to have to move this. It's in my way. Let's get a closer look here. Is this bracket holding it? Okay, I think that might be holding down as well. So let's remove that screw as well. Be careful here. Okay, so we got that, and then got that. All right, and now let's see if we can pop it up. Okay, there we go. So there was that one screw, and that's it. There's a thermal pad here, so be careful. And there is an M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD here. This is actually an Intel Optane memory. I might have to ask the customer what they want to do. I did disable, if you're going to do this, you actually want to disable the Intel Optane thing in advance. So what you do is in the start menu, you want to search Intel, and then I think it's the Intel Rapid Storage or Intel RST or whatever, and you want to go into that program and disable that before you start the clone, because otherwise it's going to be confused because it's going to be cloning just the main drive and not like with the Intel Optane. So I disabled Intel Optane before doing that, and then I cloned the hard drive to the SSD. I'm going to have to check with the customer because these drives are faster. So maybe they'll want me to just get rid of this drive and then go straight to NVMe SSD. Problem is I don't have one on hand at the moment. I will have one tomorrow, and then I can help them do that. I only have like a 500 gig one at the moment. So anyways, here you can see the SATA connection here. There's the spring-loaded clip that allows you to push and to release it, and that plugs to the hard drive. And then obviously there's another one that goes up to the CD drive. And then there's this cable, this small one, that's the power for that drive. And then this one is the power for the hard drive, it seems. Okay, there's all these little cables here. I'm not 100% sure what's what. This says converter, so that's probably to power the screen. And then you have this one, it says webcam, so that's obviously for the camera. You got a speaker connector here, plugs to the speaker here, and then also to the speaker over there. You got this cable here, which is FHD, sorry, Full HD LVDS, so that's the 1080p whatever screen connection. Power button cable here. These all have these flip latches that you flip those up before pulling those cables out. 2 sticks of RAM. You can pop it out by pulling the 2 tabs to the side. Sorry, it's hard to do this with one hand, but pull the tabs to the side here and it pops up, and then you can pull this out. This is an 8 gig PC4 2400T 8 gig stick again. So you can put any PC4 2400T stick of RAM. If you want, you can get 2 16 gig sticks. All right, it goes back in at an angle like that. I like to wiggle it as I kind of pull it in and then click it down. But yeah, if you want, you can upgrade it to 32 gigs. You got the fan here. It's kind of interesting. They have this little vent hole here or something, and then it blows through the heatsink radiator there. Okay. CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock batteries here. It's a standard CR2032. All right, this has a spring. You pull it and then it can pop out. I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to reset their BIOS. It looks like the CPU is replaceable. It's under this heatsink. It has that little latch to flip up, like most desktop motherboards. But sometimes the manufacturer will put in the BIOS or firmware like to block other CPUs, so keep that in mind. If you upgrade it, there is a chance that it'll block other CPUs. All right, there's also the wireless card here. Antennas, like every other model, you go from the tail and pull up. I'm not going to mess around with that because, again, the only issue they had was it was slow, and that's because the hard drive was bad. Then you have this connector here. Usually that's for like the digitizer touchscreen. So there's the flip latches for that. And I think that's what this cable, the converter. So I think it converts the touchscreen input. There's also this little cable here, which is usually for like probably backlight power. And that goes up somewhere. Is that also to the converter board? I think that also goes, wait, huh? Okay, so this board, the plug goes to here, and then the other one for this, for this power, I think that's for the backlight, plugs into this bigger one. And then the hard drive, does the hard drive one have its own? Wait, huh? Okay, this one plugs to there. That one plugs to there. This one plugs to this. Okay, so the converter cable actually goes to this, it seems. Is that right? I'm mixing something up. Nope, that's right. Interesting. So that one, this looks like just 2 pins or something, but it plugs into this with a whole bunch of cables. Anyways, that's pretty much it that's in here. So we're going to have to reassemble this, and then I'm going to see what the customer wants to do. I guess I'm going to have to take it apart a second time. Or, I mean, either way, this SSD is much faster than this. I'm going to see if they want to pay the extra, because an NVMe SSD does cost a little bit more than one of these. So we'll see. Anyways, let's go ahead and put this thing back together. I'm going to put you guys back on the tripod, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to have to do this a second time because I can't leave this open here. So that's going to suck, but whatever. Alright, so we got that, and we're going to now get this piece and put this back in. This does have these that it needs to go under here. So make sure when you get this, you slide that over there first. Okay, it will lock in. And then we lower this down, make sure these ports all line up, and push that down just like that. It does have like little things that hold it in place. And then we're just going to get all these screws back in. Okay, so we got this guy. This guy. Okay, this guy down here. this guy over here. This guy up here. And also, if you're wondering how the M.2 SSD comes out, there's one screw. I believe it's a JS1. And then after you remove that screw, you can pull it up slightly like the RAM and pull it out. Okay, anyways, we're going to get this screw in. There we go. Tighten that down. There we go. We got all of that in. We'll get the hinge bracket back in place. Just pop that on, line it up. Get all those screws in. Again, I don't think you need to remove this bracket at all if you're just removing this metal case, because this bracket just lines up and connects to that. Alright, it's pretty simple to open this thing up. It does help to have fingernails to be able to pop out all those clips. But other than that, that's pretty much all there is to this. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, please make sure to like, comment, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. Subscribe, and if it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. And if you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you can watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well. I mean, you can do that as well, even if you can contribute, because it helps either way. But yeah, all right, so let's go ahead and get the cover back on. Let's see, can we even get this all in view? All right, so to get this on, we flip this back down. We're gonna have to make sure that the top lines up, but we also need to make sure that this lines up, so you gotta get this into there. Okay, then we're gonna go to the top. And we actually have to make sure this clips in first. Oh, I just realized this has like a little switch lever thing. All right, anyways, I'm going to flip it this way, and hopefully we can kind of get that in. Oh, that's going to be tough. Yeah, it's going to be very tough with this camera in my way. I don't know how I'm going to show this. Okay, get that lined up. And this needs to go into these little latches, so I'm gonna lift this thing up and kind of get it in, or maybe I can do it sideways. I don't know. No, it's hard to how do I show this on camera? I don't think I can. Yeah, this is difficult. All right, you gotta make sure that's lined up. And I'm not sure how I'm going to show this part in camera, but I'm doing what I can. Kind of just line it up and then click it in. I guess that's how I can show it, kind of. Right? Line that up and click that. Make sure you are getting that lined up right. Okay. Alright, so that all seems to have clicked in well. So now we're just going to go and... Uh-oh. Come on. Get that lined up. Okay, that's going kind of, sort of, not exactly. There we go. Pull that out of the way. Get that in. And that all kind of clicked in. Click that all in. Okay, and then we'll just click all this as well. So it's all a matter of like clicking this in properly. Okay. It's kind of tough to do this. All right, and then just work your way along across the front as well. I'm not sure why this one side here does not want to click in. There we go. Okay, and make sure to go all the way up the sides as well. Hopefully everything is clicked in. It's hard to see with the camera in my way and this lighting, but make sure everything is clicked in. Pinch it all together, and that's pretty much it. We just got to get the little foot stand back on and we're good to go. So pretty simple. Just line this back up. I think this was behind it. Also, there is a slot here that it goes into, this slot. Okay, so this thing actually just lines up and slots in there. So when you slot it, it actually holds itself in place, and then you just got to get those screws in. Again, we are going to be using the 2.5 or 2.5 millimeter. Where's that? 2.5 millimeter. You can also use the North American standard probably if you're using that. Let's see, this is what size? Actually, you'd have to make sure. Is that 7/64? No, with the North American standard, it's a little bit slightly off, so I guess we'll just use a 2.5. Alright, and let's get this in. So just get these 4 screws back in, and we're good to go. We should be able to power it back up, and it should work just fine. Make sure these screws are tight. You don't want it coming loose and then the stand falling off and the screen just falling out. Alright, and that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, don't forget the little rubber covers for those screw holes. I mean, they're not important, but if you want it to be like how it was when you bought it, you can put those, make sure to put those back. Alright, so let's get these last 4 screws in, put the rubber feet in, and that's pretty much it. Alright, and get this guy in, tighten that, and we should be good to go. Alright. Okay, so we got this, and there's a little hole in there. That's where this little piece goes into. So we'll get that and push that in place. Good. And then we got the other side. We gotta do the same thing. Same thing, the hole is straight down there. So same thing, grab that rubber piece, get that in there, and that's it. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.